For a show primarily targeted towards kids, Steven Universe has a lot of dark and disturbing moments. Growing up with it, the show strongly impacted me and solidified my love for dark moments in television shows. It's hard to pick just one episode to talk about when speaking about the darkest episode of the show, but I've made my choice. In my opinion, the darkest episode of Steven Universe is Season 2, Episode 8, Keeping It Together. The episode starts with the Gems folding Steven's laundry. Garnet speaks about Peridot being on the loose and capturing her before she finishes whatever her plan is. Steven is more interested in seeing Ruby and Sapphire, saying that they could help them fold the laundry faster. By this point in the show, it has been revealed that Garnet is a fusion of Ruby and Sapphire, the most stable fusion we've met in the show, as they stay together most of the time, while most fusions fall apart relatively quickly. Fusion is an important topic for this episode, and to understand why it's disturbing, I need to explain what fusion represents in the show. Fusion represents relationships, and the show has fusions that are healthy and some that are abusive. What we are going to see in this episode with fusion, however, is something entirely different, and it's hard to describe what type of relationship it really represents. The episode continues with them talking about what they believe is Peridot's plan, to reactivate the kindergarten injectors to create more gem soldiers for Homeworld, which would use Earth's resources, leading to the destruction of Earth. Garnet is optimistic about stopping Peridot, however. The Gems warp pad to the kindergarten, and Steven, while searching the perimeter of the kindergarten for Peridot, finds, guess who? Peridot coming out of the ground. Peridot is recording her logs and talks about fusion experiments progressing. She spots Steven and screams. The other Gems rush to his aid. Pearl and Amethyst chase Peridot off, but Steven and Garnet stay to see what Peridot was actually doing, as it's clear that the injectors aren't on and she wasn't here for those. They head underground, Steven and Garnet discussing fusion and how great it is. The place looks strange, and Garnet hears a noise from one of these weird containers and goes to check it out. Then the episode gets dark. A connected hand and foot fall from the ceiling, and then a bunch of fused limbs do. Garnet poofs one and they realize what these are. 2 gem shards forced to fuse together, which in this context is basically the corpses of gems forced into a fusion. Garnet is rightfully disgusted and throws it. Garnet is terrified, but then one of the containers explodes open. A forced fusion monstrosity comes out trying to create a form for itself. It screams in agony, then forms into this amalgamation of limbs. Garnet can't move from the fear and shock. The monstrosity hits her, knocking her visor off. Garnet then explains these aren't just any gems. These were crystal gems, part of their team. Gems she knew, her friends that died during the war, now forced together to become weapons for Homeworld. Garnet starts to become undone and almost splits into Ruby and Sapphire, but she keeps it together and poofs the gem monster, containing the gem in a bubble. Steven tries to be happy they won, but Ruby and Sapphire talk through Garnet, conversing about how this is their fault due to rebelling against Homeworld. Pearl and Amethyst return, revealing Peridot escaped. When they see a hand-in-hand fusion, Garnet snaps and tells them to contain all of them. Back at the base, Steven and Garnet talk. Garnet wishes that Steven hadn't seen that. She says that fusion is a choice that requires consent, and those gems didn't consent to that. She finds it wrong. Steven asks what it's like to be a fusion all the time to Garnet, and she says it's like you forget you were ever alone. She explains the strength of Ruby and Sapphire's love keeps her together as Garnet for a long time. So why was this episode so dark? Well, the fact we see the corpses of gems forced to fuse without consent, without a choice, into body horror monstrosities makes it the darkest episode in my opinion. The implications of this are disturbing. We also see the strongest character in the show at this point, Garnet, finally lose her cool. Yes, there are a lot of dark moments in the show, but none are as twisted in concept as this. Thanks for watching.